store.
You've seen the yellow signs, the low prices, and the long lines. But what if I told you that behind the shelves and inside the freezers, there are things Dollar General doesn't want you to know? We're not just talking about price tricks or messy aisles. This goes deeper. From hidden safety hazards to quietly expired products, these are the secrets they hope you never notice. We won't be spelling them out in a list. Instead, we're pulling back the curtain on how things really work inside one of America's most familiar stores. Shoppers might assume that all meat in Dollar General's freezers is safe to eat, but what many don't realize is that some stores have quietly sold ground beef that was part of official government recalls due to dangerous contamination like E. coli. Unlike large grocery chains that have special backroom freezers to pull and hold recalled products, Dollar General locations are often too small to separate unsafe items from safe ones. That means if a recall happens, workers are usually told to just check barcodes and continue selling anything that doesn't ring up with an error, even if the product is flagged on paper. Store employees have spoken out, saying they're given little to no training on handling recalls and that they rarely get clear instructions from corporate when serious safety issues arise. Some even admit that when meat is supposed to be discarded, it sometimes ends up back on shelves simply because there's nowhere else to store it, and throwing it out involves heavy lifting after dark. To make matters worse, customers would never know they're buying recalled meat because receipts don't list specific brand names or lot numbers, just general descriptions like ground beef. Without checking complex government recall lists or understanding how to read plant codes stamped in tiny print, most shoppers have no idea what's been flagged. This isn't a rare issue either. Dollar General has been listed multiple times in federal documents as a store that received contaminated product, and with low staffing and limited space, there's no guarantee that bad meat gets pulled fast enough. For shoppers looking for a quick dinner, this could turn into a serious health risk, all hidden behind a freezer door and a familiar yellow price tag. Another hidden concern many shoppers overlook when walking into a Dollar General is the condition of its fresh produce. While the company proudly advertises its push to bring fruits and vegetables to more of its locations, what they don't promote is how quickly that produce can rot due to poor handling and extreme understaffing. In many stores, a single employee might be running the register, stocking shelves, managing self-checkout, and somehow expected to monitor the quality of fresh food, including rotating lettuce, checking strawberries for mold, and tossing spoiled bananas. Workers have admitted that freight often sits for hours unrefrigerated, especially during truck delivery days when no one has time to immediately stock it. Boxes of tomatoes and bags of salad are sometimes placed straight onto shelves without anyone checking the expiration dates or overall condition. Even worse, many stores use automated reordering systems that send more produce as soon as stock runs low, regardless of whether the previous batch spoiled before selling. This creates a loop where bad produce keeps arriving and staff remain too overwhelmed to manage it. Customers often find mushy cucumbers, browning lettuce, and overripe fruit buzzing with flies, and many leave thinking Dollar General can't be trusted for anything fresh. But the real issue isn't the idea of offering produce, it's the lack of time and staff needed to care for it properly. Employees say they're punished if payroll hours go over budget, so corners are cut and quality slips. This isn't just about a soft apple, it's a system problem that leaves rural families with no choice but to buy spoiled food in communities that already struggle with access to healthier options. And while the store's signs say fresh, the truth often tells a different story once you look closer at what's sitting on the shelves. Where safety inside Dollar General stores has become a growing concern that's largely hidden from public view. What most customers don't realize as they walk through the aisles is that behind those familiar low prices lies a serious pattern of blocked fire exits, overcrowded stock rooms, and emergency routes packed with teetering boxes. These aren't just rare slip-ups. Federal safety inspectors have flagged Dollar General repeatedly for these hazards, calling the issues systemic across hundreds of locations. In many stores, freight shipments are so large and staff so few that merchandise ends up stacked in front of emergency doors and exits without a second thought. Employees have come forward saying they're forced to choose between keeping the store presentable for customers or clearing life-saving pathways, because they simply can't do both during an understaffed shift. In response to repeated violations, the company agreed to pay millions in fines and promised to fix problems within 48 hours of being notified. But here's the catch. Once a photo of a cleared exit is sent to regulators, the issue is marked as resolved even if the exit is blocked again an hour later. There are no surprise follow-ups. Employees say this has created a cycle where stores clean up just long enough to take a picture and then immediately return to piling boxes wherever they fit. Corporate treats the fines as part of doing business rather than fixing the root problem: unrealistic staffing plans and oversized shipments. For customers, this means that in the event of a real emergency like a fire or medical panic, escape routes could be blocked by towering displays or rolling carts. It's not just an inconvenience, it's a risk. And while the store might look tidy up front, the back areas tell a very different and far more dangerous story. Another troubling secret shoppers often experience without realizing it is the issue of mismatched prices between the shelf tags and the register totals at Dollar General. What looks like a good deal on the shelf may end up costing much more at checkout, and it's happening far more often than most people think. The reason is simple but frustrating. Price updates are pushed to the store's computer systems automatically, but the shelf tags have to be changed by hand. With stores constantly operating on skeleton crews, those paper tags can be days or even weeks behind. That means a product marked at $3.50 could scan for $5.25, and unless you catch it right away, you're stuck paying the difference. Government inspectors have caught multiple Dollar General stores overcharging customers on hundreds of items in a single visit, and some states have forced the company to pay large fines or issue refunds. But the practice continues because the penalties cost less than fixing the actual problem: too few employees and too many price changes. Staff have said that they simply don't have time to update every tag on top of running the register and stocking shelves. It's gotten so bad in some areas that shoppers now film themselves walking through aisles to document prices before heading to the checkout just to have proof when the register overcharges them. Most people, however, don't notice the mistake until they've already paid and left, at which point it's a hassle to go back and argue over a couple of dollars. But over time, those small overcharges add up, especially for people who shop at Dollar General every week. The company profits quietly from the confusion, and unless you're actively watching every item that rings up, you could be paying more than you realize. It's not just a glitch, it's a business model that takes advantage of rushed shoppers and broken systems, where the illusion of getting a deal at Dollar General is quietly costing shoppers more than they know. One of the biggest tricks the store uses is shrinking the size of its products while keeping the prices low, making it seem like you're saving money when you're actually paying more per ounce, per load, or per use. This is called shrinkflation, and Dollar General is one of the worst offenders. A bottle of dish soap might look like a bargain at $1.25, but when you flip it over, you'll often find it holds only 10 or 12 ounces, half the size of a standard bottle at a big box store. The same goes for cereal boxes, bags of chips, and laundry detergent. They all look familiar at first glance, especially since the packaging often mimics the colors and fonts of name brands, but they contain less product than what most people expect. Because many states don't require unit price labeling, Dollar General isn't forced to show how much you're paying per ounce or per unit, so the smaller sizes fly under the radar. Most customers in a rush don't stop to do the math, and that's exactly what the store is counting on. When you finally compare what you're getting to what you'd pay at a larger grocery store for a full-size version, it turns out the bargain was actually more expensive. This strategy is especially harmful in areas where Dollar General is the only nearby store, and families are trying to make limited money stretch. It turns a quick stop into a slow leak on your budget, and over the course of a year, those extra pennies per product can quietly turn into hundreds of wasted dollars. The low sticker price might feel good in the moment, but unless you're carefully checking product sizes, it's easy to walk out paying premium prices for miniature portions. And this next secret hits even harder because it involves the health and safety of some of the most vulnerable customers: families buying medicine and baby formula. What Dollar General doesn't advertise is that expired products, including over-the-counter pain relievers, cough syrup, allergy medications, and infant formula, have been found on store shelves long after their expiration dates. Investigators and everyday shoppers alike have documented cases where items were months past the date printed on the box or bottle. And while corporate policy says these products should be regularly checked and removed, the reality is that employees are often too overwhelmed to keep up. With only 1 or 2 workers on shift, the daily to-do list already includes running the register, unloading trucks, stocking shelves, and now monitoring expiration dates on hundreds of products. It's a nearly impossible task, and things slip through. Many customers assume that if something is on the shelf, it's been checked and is safe, but that's not always the case at Dollar General. Even worse, the company often waits until someone posts a picture online or files a complaint complaint before addressing the problem at a specific store. If you don't catch the expired item yourself and return it, there's no real penalty for the store, and no system in place to alert other locations. This turns every shopper into an untrained inspector, especially dangerous when expired medicine might not work as it should, or when expired formula could affect a baby's nutrition. And in communities where the Dollar General is the only nearby store for miles, there may not be a backup option. That leaves people with no choice but to buy what's available and hope for the best. It's a risk no one should have to take just to treat a headache or feed their child, but inside these stores, it's more common than most realize. What many communities don't realize until it's too late is that when a Dollar General opens in a small town, the local grocery store often closes not long after. It doesn't happen overnight, but the impact is real and hard to reverse. Dollar General doesn't sell full grocery carts of food. It focuses on the high-margin essentials like snacks, cleaning supplies, and boxed goods. These are the very items that help small-town grocery stores stay in business because they make enough money from them to keep offering fresh produce, meat, and dairy even when profit margins are tight. But when Dollar General undercuts the prices on those dry goods, shoppers begin to split their spending. They'll grab cheap paper towels and canned goods then head to the local grocery store for fresh items. Eventually, the grocery store's sales drop so low that it can't afford to stay open, and it shuts down. What's left is a community with a store that has no butcher counter, no bakery, very little fresh food, and sometimes no real alternatives nearby. This creates what experts call a food desert, where affordable, healthy food is either missing or too far away. Dollar General often says it's solving food access problems, but in many cases it's making them worse. Once the local grocer is gone, DG has no reason to expand its limited food selection. People end up having to drive 30 or 40 minutes just to find a real grocery store, and in low-income or rural areas, that's not always an option. It's a slow process, but it's happening across the country. Small towns trading full-service groceries for limited-aisle dollar stores that offer less, not more, in the long run. And this next one might surprise even regular shoppers, because it's hidden in plain sight at the checkout. When you pay at Dollar General, the screen often asks if you'd like to round up your total to support the company's Literacy Foundation, a charity program that helps fund education and reading initiatives. On the surface, it sounds like a good cause, and many customers choose to donate a few extra cents. But here's where things get tricky. Some shoppers have noticed that even after pressing no or declining the prompt, their receipt still shows a donation added to their total. In some cases, the amount was small, just 45 cents, but when that happens across thousands of stores and millions of transactions, it adds up to a lot of money. Dollar General has blamed these incidents on register glitches or technical errors, promising refunds when customers speak up. But here's the problem. Most people don't notice. They trust the system, toss the receipt, and go on with their day. That means a donation was charged without consent, and unless you catch it on the spot and ask for your money back, you've just unknowingly contributed. And while the company claims that 100% of donations go to charity, there's little transparency about how the money is tracked or where it goes until long after the fact. More importantly, these incidents turn a voluntary donation into something that feels forced or automatic. It creates a system where shoppers have to double check every line on their receipt just to make sure they weren't charged extra for something they said no to. And if you're in a rush or distracted at checkout, you may never even realize it happened. It's a clever way to make a program look generous on paper while leaving many customers wondering if they really chose to give, or if the system chose for them. For a while, the chain proudly rolled out self-checkout machines in stores across the country, promoting them as a way to speed things up and make shopping easier. But recently, those machines have started to disappear, and it's not because of customer complaints or technical issues. It's because the company was losing a lot of money through theft, scanning errors, and misuse. With only 1 or 2 employees watching multiple kiosks, it became easy for customers, both intentionally and accidentally, to miss items, scan cheaper barcodes, or walk out with unpaid goods. This led to what's known in the industry as shrink, which is the gap between what a store should have in inventory and what it actually has. That shrink cost the company millions, and now they're quietly removing self-checkout from hundreds of stores without making a big announcement. In many locations, customers are being told there's a new 5-item limit for using self-checkout, and handwritten signs are showing up where machines once stood. Some stores have even boarded up the kiosks with plywood overnight and shifted everyone back to a single register line. Dollar General says this this is part of improving the customer experience, but shoppers are noticing longer waits, fewer staff, and more confusion during busy hours. The truth is, the company miscalculated how much control it could keep with so few employees managing high-volume stores, and now it's trying to undo the damage. But instead of owning up to the issue, they're framing it as an upgrade. In reality, it's a quiet retreat from a cost-cutting move that backfired, and the people left to deal with the inconvenience are the very shoppers who were promised faster, easier checkouts in the first place. Now that you've seen what really happens behind the scenes at Dollar General, the next time you walk through those doors, you might notice things a little differently. From the freezer to the checkout, the small details tell a much bigger story, one the company doesn't put on the shelves. If this opened your eyes, there's more to uncover. We want to hear from you. Have you ever caught a pricing error, spotted expired food, or had a strange experience at Dollar General? Drop your story in the comments. Whether it's something shocking, frustrating, or just plain weird, your first-hand experiences help shine a light on what's really happening in stores across the country. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and check out our next investigation, because the truth about your favorite stores is only getting started.